All right, guys, welcome back to another episode. And today we got another wonderful client. Today, and her name is Helen. Helen and I have been working over the last year, and she's been able to create some great changes for herself. She's actually in a new process right now. She's building her metabolism. She actually hit a new low today while increasing her food, which is super exciting. But yeah, we want to bring on Helen today just to talk about her experience inside Meraki and to hopefully inspire you for you listening to this. So, Helen, welcome in. It's nice to have you here.
Hello, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Helen, we'd love to hear from you. Tell us a little bit more of where you were with your health and fitness journey before you joined Meraki.
So before I joined Meraki, I actually was, I feel like I wasn't in my best health. I feel like I was trying to do a cut, but I tried many methods. One of them that I really, really tried was like doing training for a Spartan and going through with the Spartan. And I was hoping that that would help me take off, like do a cut. But clearly that wasn't really sustainable for me. And I think that I was kind of in a place where I was kind of stressed about my health and stressed about my weight and stressed about just like my well-being in general.
Hmm. Hmm. I remember us talking about that, and like, tell us a little bit more, like, and even refreshing my memory, like, what were you exactly supposed to do for like this Spartan training?
So for Spartan training, I've learned a lot. Actually, I did a lot of high intensity workouts. I remember stretching for like half an hour to
Oh
an
wow.
hour before my workout started, and I would do a lot of runs. I would do a lot of obstacle trainings. So I would do a lot of like ring trainings, like going through rings and
Yeah.
monkey bars. It basically any a lot of like upper body, high weight, upper body intense workouts, and I would do them like 4 or 5 times a week, and I would
Oh, wow.
try to hit my time that I really wanted in the Spartan course.
Mm-hmm. So,
hmm
I'm curious to know, was that something that aligned with you? Did you enjoy doing like that type of training and like doing that 4 to 5 days in a week?
I think it was enjoyable to a certain extent. Like I feel like it was um it like to be honest, looking back at it, I don't think it was really my cup of tea, like overall,
Yeah.
just because it was so intense. Like it always feels like I was giving more than what I can get back.
That's a good way to
So
explain it.
that was my main thing. I did have fun just because my friends were training with me.
Mhm.
But besides that, for my result wise, I was not really getting back what I've envisioned.
I like the way you said it. Like you feel like you're putting in a lot of effort, but not getting much back,
Yes.
right? And I feel a lot of people are doing that, where they're using exercise as like the main vehicle to lose weight or
hmm
improve their body composition, but they're not seeing that much changes.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, thanks for refreshing that. Just one last question, just like with where you were before joining Meraki, Helen. Um, if you don't mind sharing, like how long were you struggling with just like, weight loss and body composition changes? Like how long had the struggle been for you before joining the team?
I want to say like before I joined the team, I feel like I was been struggling for like 5 years, maybe six
Wow.
years.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been in the gym for ever since like 8 years ago. That's when I started going to the gym. That's when, but then I've noticed that my weight has been like increasing, and I've been more uh like I don't know what's the right words. Maybe like I wanted to be leaner
Yeah,
like early on, but
yeah,
I just didn't know how because I was just like doing workouts at the gym,
yeah.
hoping that something would come out of it. I was trying to like learn having good forms and stuff, but it was very there was not a focus of knowledge on that.
I see, I see. It sounds like it
hmm
was like a lot of focus on like the exercise side of things, and like you said, you weren't able to see as much changes. What about the
Mhm.
nutrition side of things before you met me? Like, do you feel like there was like question marks around that? Like, did you have a strategy, Helen, or tell us a little bit more of that?
I actually didn't. I was interested in the nutrition, but I want to say like when I did my research on fitness, I it wasn't a broad, it wasn't like a specific research, but it was like hard to find any information about nutrition. So I had no idea what I was doing.
Totally understand. A lot of people are probably in the same scenario, and I'm glad you shared that. Thanks again for sharing that. A lot of people are probably in the same are in the same boat as where you were before, Helen, right? Like
Mhm.
exercising, doing more, right? And I'm sure before you probably thought like more is better. Like, I'm not losing
Yes.
as much, but like do more, push your body more. But it comes to the point where, like you said, it becomes unsustainable. You maybe don't like doing that as often during the week. And what about times when
Yes.
you get busy or when you travel? Right? Like committing to
Hmm.
that type of training in that one location, it can be very challenging logistically. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Helen, tell us a little bit more. Like, ever since we started working together, like we'll start with this. Like, tell us like the results you've been able to achieve so far in our time being together.
So, after I joined Meraki, I think that, I noticed, after a couple months of being in Meraki, I've noticed some changes. I think that, even not only personally, I think, well, first of all, it was personally after like 4 to 6 weeks, but I think that what really, um, drive it home was after like a couple months, other people are noticing the changes. They were like, wow, your face is slimmer, or like, wow, you're a lot leaner. And I'm like, wow, this is really happening. Like I feel like, I've been wanting to do something like this for a long time. And it wasn't like what I've imagined before, which is, doing more and hoping to get back more, but just doing like a good amount, just doing a sustainable amount, like forming good habits. So that's also a really good surprise. I think that the whole program for Meraki, it actually um it's very it like sets the clients up for success.
Well, I'm really glad to hear that, Helena. I appreciate you. It makes me really happy to hear that. And you've been a wonderful client and you've been following the process, which is why you're successful. Yeah. I like what you said too about like it's a good effort. Right? And can you share a little bit more? I know like the last several months it's been busy like on your, personal wins, right?
Hmm.
Travel, etc. Like tell us a little bit more. It sounds like, you've been having that, but I know you've been able to maintain your lowest low. Tell us a little bit more about that, just like creating this new lifestyle for yourself, even when you're really busy.
Yeah, so I think that in well how it has been for me is actually, yeah, I've been going through a lot of life changes. I guess I had a really busy job. I'm sure a lot of the clients in Meraki can relate to this. Everyone's working a lot of hours, and I'm in that same boat. I also had a lot of like personal goals that I've wanted to hit. And I've been hitting those. I guess I can share that I bought my first property when I'm in Meraki, which is
Yeah.
still a shock and surprise for me. That was a whole process. I've been taking care of my mom who was ill for a while, and living basically in another state kind of situation. So there are goals, and now my mom is cured. So yeah, I've been doing and even at work I've been doing really well. So I think that that really goes to show that, while you're doing being on Meraki, you can hit your health fitness goals, and you can also hit your life goals.
hmm Absolutely. And if I were to ask you this, Helen, like if you were to do like, the training you did before, right? What the frequency you had, do you feel like going through, the life changes you went through just recently, do you feel like it would have been sustainable what you done before? Probably not.
Probably not, to be
Probably not.
honest. Yeah, because I feel like being like doing high intensity workouts and keeping up with the training regime. Um, I feel like it's a lot on the body. And I feel like I have to probably make a sacrifice in
Yep.
terms of like my, like being in the race and having a good, end time. And then also it's the fact that, you're trying to get that end time, but then you're also um there's a struggle between focusing on getting a good time or getting a good physique out of it, and then after the race you're kind of struggling to find a motivation to keep training.
I completely understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like even myself doing some cardiovascular like events, like runs and stuff, like it's hard to focus on both, right? And it's good that like right now you're really focusing on learning about metabolism and learning about like body composition changes. So yeah. Tell us a little bit more, like how much weight during our time together, how much weight did you lose from like when you started and to like right now?
So about the weight, I want to say at this point, I know for sure it's more than 20 pounds. Um,
I think
but
22. I think 22,
20,
23
yeah,
around that range.
22. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
the amount currently. Yeah.
That's great. And I know like our goal was pretty much around the 23, 24 range, and we're pretty much hit that, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
basically.
Yep. That's really good to hear.
Yeah.
Helen, just a few more questions. Like, what would you say are like the biggest things you learned in the program that you didn't know before joining?
So I want to say number one is nutrition
Yep.
because like I've mentioned before, I have zero knowledge of how nutrition works comp like in terms of being in in a fitness setting. I didn't even think about nutrition as a fitness component in that sense.
Mm,
So I think learning about flexible dieting was one of my big things that I've learned in the program. Secondly, I've learned to form sustainable habits. I think that's really important when you want your goals to be, sustainable for, however long you desire that goal to be. I think that that's really important. So I do think that's really valuable information. So those two I want to say like are my big two. And lastly, I think that, I've learned a lot about like mindset in fitness. And I think that that's so important, not only to your fitness goals, it's also important to everything in life. So I think that's like super, super invaluable
mm.
doing in Meraki.
Hmm. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear you mention the mindset side of things as well. Right, when I do the
Hmm.
mindset talks and the motivational stuff, like you guys are listening and you guys are actually internalizing everything I say. So I'm happy to hear that, Helen. But I think the biggest thing that makes me happy is sustainability. You know, you've
Yes.
been the last bit personal things and travels, and you've been able to maintain what you've achieved for yourself because of like the knowledge, right? And like the things that you learned, just like what you mentioned right now, like I think that's the most important thing. If you guys can take the playbook from me and take it with you for the rest of your life, that makes me really happy. And we're not just doing another fad diet. We're not just doing another quick fix,
Yes.
right? Mm, that makes me really happy to hear. Helen, if there's somebody that, let's just say they're in the position you are right now, they're committed because there's a lot of people on our page that do go to group classes. They're maybe doing Spartan like yourself. They're physically active, right, in your scenario, but they can't lose weight. Um,
Mm.
if you were to give them your best tips, like what would it be?
Um, I think my best tip is actually joining Meraki.
Of course,
I think that because I'm being really honest here because I've been in, like I've mentioned, I've been in the fitness journey like
years.
fitness for a long time, like
Yeah,
for about 8 years.
yeah,
And I've been I feel like I've been in a lot of corners of fitness, like
yeah,
being in corners as in like learning how to do the fitness like the workouts at the
yeah.
gym by myself. Then I try to hire a coach for myself, an in-person coach, to learn more about fitness, to learn more about forms and how to do workouts. And then I've been in, training for Spartan, and I hired a coach for that, to learn about how to do a Spartan, but then also communicating that I want to do, a cut with them, but I feel like not the results are they're not as good as what I've got. at Meraki, which is
Mm,
what I feel like, I feel like that's I've gotten like so much results from it, and I am very happy with what I've got. So I feel like my number one recommendation is to join Meraki.
I'm glad to hear. I'm
Mm.
very thankful to have you as a client. You've been very, very like dedicated and like very intentional in your efforts. And I want to say like, that's why I brought you in this call today because I know you have a lot of wisdom that can pass down to somebody else. But yeah, of course, like what Helen said is 100% true. Like she's someone that's not new to this, right? She's been almost a decade, right? But it takes strategy and it takes like a deeper understanding of like things like nutrition, your metabolism to take the physique to the next level. It's not always working harder. I think that's the
Yes.
big takeaway from today's like conversation. It's not always working harder. It's working hard, but working smart at the same time. Those two.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Helen, I appreciate your time today. It's it's good to have you here. I know you're very busy yourself, and I appreciate your time for coming on today and speaking and potentially helping somebody out there that's listening to this.
No problem.
Yep.
It's my pleasure.
Yep. We'll see you soon, Helen. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.